Please welcome Lou Walker. So it's 2004 and I am stranded on this island in the middle of nowhere. It's inhabited by a native tribe and I have a bruised butt and I have to be at a wedding in 5 hours and I just have no idea what's going on, to be honest. So I'm 19 and my mum's asked me to go to my cousin's wedding in Fiji to represent the family. And I have no connection whatsoever with these people ever, but it sounded like a cool adventure. So, you know, and I'd never been overseas and my boyfriend had never been over either, so we had to quickly organise passports, book accommodation and flights. I sorted out a last minute $1,000 credit card because someone probably told me that was clever, I guess. Bear in mind as well, it was 2004, so Google was a thing, but it wasn't as good, and I was still me, and I don't like reading or researching, so remember that. So we touched down in Fiji, and we're waiting at the airport for someone to come and get us, to take us to the resort, which was on Unuka Island. We waited for forever, no one was coming, there was definitely no one coming. Finally, we scrounged together some coins and we find a payphone and to call the resort because we are not spending money on international call rates at 19. We're not doing that. So we find a payphone, we call the resort, and they say the car's already gone, so get a taxi to the harbour. And we go, okay, cool. First taxi says, all right, it's 3 hours drive and it's $100. And we're like, $100 for 3 hours sounds like a bargain, so we'll take that one. Off we go. He's the worst driver ever, just half the time was on the other side of the road, so that was an adventure in itself. He pulls over about an hour and a half in and just stops on the side of the road and says, we're going to wait for my brother because he has the fast taxi. I'm like, alright, so we waited for another half an hour or so. Surprisingly, the brother did actually turn up in an equally shite car with like plastic seats and no aircon, and he was a terrible driver too, but you know, we were out of there, so that was good. We're in high spirits, so off we go. We get to the harbour. The harbour is actually just this little single shittily made jetty, and at the end is a toothless man in like an old surf boat. It's rusting out, it's so bad. But I feel like we've travelled all these hours and I'm not going to not get in the boat at this point. So we get in the boat and he throws our bags in and then he throws us some raincoats, which seems strange, but I don't know anything, so put it all on. He takes off at like lightning speed. I mean, this boat must have been just at its peak and there's no land in sight. We're just headed out to just ocean. Which is just, I'm laughing thinking about how stupid it is. Anyway, we're like, all right, here we go. It was so choppy. The boat was just like, bang, like our asses, I mean, just bang, bang, on the seat the whole way. I'm holding onto this seat, like, underneath it. And the water is just pummeling me, just straight into the eyeballs. Me and my boyfriend are just sitting there just going, ah! You know, the raincoat did nothing. It wasn't good. I don't know what he was thinking. Anyway, it's late. We dicked around for so long. It was so dark already. It got dark. There was nothing. We were in the middle of the ocean just flying along. Anyway, I've actually said, leaned over and been like, we are getting murdered. Which is really funny now, but it so wasn't. I was like, what are we doing? Anyway, I see a little light and I'm like, yes, it's all okay. And then we veered away from it and went into the blackness. Probably another 10 minutes. It was like a whole hour of this. Just, I don't know what the hell's going on. I see a little light and we're heading towards it and it's a man on the shore with a lantern. And I'm like, all right, this is promising, sort of. Not really, because in reality, as we're stepping off this boat into the ocean to get to this man with a 2-metre radius of light and nothing else, I'm like, there's no freaking way there's a wedding here tomorrow. Like, not a chance that there's 50-odd people turning up in their best, wherever the hell we are, in blackness. So we'd somehow but we found our way to this eco-resort, surfing eco-resort, which was even a stretch to call it an eco-resort. But at night, from what I could see, it was just, here's 2 little shacks. They've got holes for windows and doors, and there's nothing to close. There's no privacy. It's all just open. There's a bed and I don't remember really what else, but there was not a lot going on. Like the shower, there's no electricity or anything of that. We got a lantern as well. And I tried to be really polite. And to be fair, I felt safe, right? I wasn't dead or murdered or tortured. And I was like, these men seem nice, they're being really kind. So I didn't actually fear for my life at this point. And I was pretty positive, but it was still not what I expected. The shower was this little old shower, and it dribbled some fresh water, I hope, out of it. And we just stood on shells and coral, and that was where the water went. So we slept under a big mosquito net because there were bugs everywhere. Anyway, whatever. Went to sleep. I woke up the next day though, and I looked out my window hole, and it was just absolutely stunning. I kind of can't do it justice. It was the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen. I mean, not the water and the sand, that was beautiful, but when I walked out, I looked behind me, and it was almost like a scene from Moana or something. If the island was tiny, really tiny, but if the island was this big, it was like that high. Just sort of behind the two little shacks was this mountain of rainforest and greenery, and it was really lush, and just, it was just like honestly just magic. It was like no one had been there, and we were the first people there. And we ended up finding out that the resort was run by the tribe on the island, and that's how they made their money. And we were treated really well. We weren't there for very long. We enjoyed it for probably an hour that morning. I went, wow, wow, wow. And then I was like, I have to get to away. Like I've got 5 hours, and I don't actually know where the hell I'm meant to even be, and I don't want to let my family down because I've come all this way, and I think Mum bought my ticket, so I felt some guilt, you know, like I had to make this happen. And now that I was trying to remember, even I don't remember how we really got established where we were meant to be with these people. They didn't speak very good English, but they helped us out. We figured out that I was supposed to be, the wedding was at the Shangri-La Resort, which is commonly known as the Fijian, which is uncommonly known as Yanuka Island. So there were 2 Yanukas, as it turns out. And I, being the absolute tight ass that I was and am today, was like I'm not paying hundreds of dollars for this 5-star resort. I can stay at an eco resort. So I've just travelled, I mean, I've travelled all this way, this tiny speck of dust on the earth. And the resort's on this giant island 10 minutes from the airport. With doors and windows and really nice things. So, anyway, all good. Get in the boat. Bang, bang, bang. Water in the eyeballs. We get off. Thank you, drenched. And I was, it was silly, but whatever. Whatever. I don't know what we're doing. But I'm flagging, trying to wave people down, get a taxi or something. And this black mafia car pulls up, the shiniest shit ever. I hadn't seen anything like this on the road, so it pulls up and it's like, and this Fijian guy goes, where are you headed? And I said, we've got to get to the Shangri-La. I'm panicking. I was like, we're late, we've got this wedding. And he goes, I'm headed up to the airport, I'll drop you there. And I said, how much is that going to cost? Like as if my priorities are just, I could ask anything in that moment, but I was like, oh God. And he said $7. And I was like, so I paid $100 to get there and $7 to get back. That was a good lesson in travel, but it turns out he was a government worker of some sort. He could have been someone really special. He could have been I don't know, what they have, a prime minister or a president or something. I don't know. He was lovely, very professional, dropped us off. Anyway, to wrap it up kind of quickly, the end, we got there with 20 minutes to spare. We got out of his car, we bolted to the reception desk, or what do you call it, service desk, and said, we need a room for 2 nights, cheapest one you've got. And it was the equivalent of 2 weeks' pay for both of us at the time. We were 18 or 19, I can't remember, but it was a lot of money, and I was like, oh my God, thank God I've got this credit card. Otherwise, I honestly don't know what I would have done thinking about it. But we checked in, we had 10 minutes or 15 minutes to get ourselves ready, made it to the wedding. I'm red faced, our eyeballs are bright red. And it was a great night. But to bring it back to the topic, I thought, my husband and I always think back to that. It was such a random and kind of chaotic, I guess, 24 hours of misadventure for us that, it was planned but it was planned but unplanned, planned poorly. But we look back now and, when we're at the wedding speaking with all these other guests who were real adults, who made it to venue on time, and you know, they went from the airport to the hotel, which I know people do this, and I get it now because I just want to come and relax as well. But we end up really loving all the stuff we saw, and I've told you a little snippet of it really, but those are the main bits. But we talked to heaps of people, saw a bunch of stuff in our 4.5 hours of just travelling alone. And you know, I guess we look back on that really fondly now. So, but I have learned to plan a bit better. I don't think anything's gone that wrong ever since. I'm real positive.